James Bolam is on Broadway next, Ealing Broadway, in the first Sign of Madness.
Velux roof windows, bringing light to life.
Don't just sit there. You could save up to 20% on motor insurance. Pick up the phone or buy online at directline.com now.
Book flights through expedia.co.uk and you get more than just a ticket. You get to choose where you want to sit. We arrange your car hire, give you a choice of hotels that best suit your budget. And we've online city guides that recommend shops, restaurants and places to visit. Expedia. When it comes to travel, we've thought of everything. Have you?
Lobster soup?
Expedia.co.uk.
Excuse me, I want to buy a conservatory.
Oh, sorry, she's very confused. Home improvement loans. This way, madam.
Oh, they do insurance too.
Shouldn't you go to a bank?
Nonsense. If the sprout's a good value, then so is their money.
I don't think it's quite that simple. She's getting on a bit.
Well, the retail sector has a loyal and regular customer base combined with a broad distribution of prime retail outlets. Factor in the low-cost acquisition through stores and the efficient back-office banking operations, and in today's volatile economic climate, you get a very competitive rate and return on your investment. Don't worry, love. You'll understand when you're older. Bye-bye.
Tesco. Every little helps.
Soon, you, the people, will be asked to choose. McDonald's new Bounty McFlurry or McDonald's new Cadbury's Caramel McFlurry. I believe that with exotic pieces of coconut and milk chocolate swirled into thick dairy ice cream, new Bounty McFlurry really does provide something for everyone. But perhaps most importantly, at 99p, it's good for the economy. Elect new Bounty McFlurry today at your local McDonald's.
Come on, keep going. This is how you impress the boss. You get in first, every single morning. Oh, please, don't be so melodramatic. It's only pain. Oh no, it's the chairman. Don't let him see you like this. Let him see you're a winner.
For career advice worth listening to, including how to get promoted, visit monster.co.uk.
When it comes to travel, we've thought of everything. Have you? Expedia.co.uk.
Oh? This cat's different. He's got the extra catitude of a kitty cat cat. Kitty cat, crammed with catitude.
They're the people we love to love.
They're the people we love to hate.
They're the stars that we love to have in our homes every day of the year.
Once again, it's time to honour Britain's best-loved actors, recall their most dramatic moments and celebrate the sheer brilliance of our most treasured television shows.
Join us in a spectacular night of triumph, tension and tears. The British Soap Awards 2001, Wednesday at 8, only on ITV.
Light at the end of the tunnel now for Stormin Norman.
The lullaby of Broadway, the hip hooray and ballyhoo. The lullaby of Broadway, the rumble of
subway train. 2 in Hammersmith Ealing. We've got 3 Broadways. America's only got 1. We don't crow about it. I'm jittery, I know I am. You wait 40 years for a new route in your life, and 2 come along at once. Norm's last train to Leytonstone. Mind the doors, please, mind the doors. This is the Norman Becton Memorial Journey. Champagne and party poppers are compulsory on this Central Line train. Right then. 23 more open and closes, and it's goodbye tunnel vision, hello whiskey, snoozers and marble cake. People say, what you going to do with yourself, Norm? You're LT through and through. Don't worry about me. 10 days' time I'll have plenty to occupy me, won't I? Had to be this line for me. I was drawn to it. Oh, I'm toyed with some of the others, but each line's got its own character, you know. Don't let anybody tell you different. Metropolitan, for instance, man's line, art. It was there right from the off. Tanita says when they cut me open on the slab, me veins will flop out in the shape of the tube map. I said, you've got a right charming little imagination there, girl. I reckon she's not far wrong, mine. I'll blame me mum. Norman, she used to say life's a journey. Just make sure you look where you're going. Not as easy as that though, is it, eh? I was 4 when the war broke out. When Dad got called up, Mum's hair turned white overnight. They just moved into their house. Everything in boxes, new life beckoning, and there he was, gone. She didn't know she was going to cope with us, me and little Arthur, on her own. She drove a taxi. Woman who hardly dared step outside without a man. Took fares, ferried people across the smoke. Doing my bit, she used to say. Transformed her, that war. All I remember is praying for bombs. Terrible, innit? Because then I knew she'd come back, gather us both up and whisk us underground. Us and half London jostling for places on those dusty, ghostly platforms. A magic land of stairs and signs and never-ending tunnels. The best den a kid ever had. And down there we felt safe. Hugged by our mum while she told us stories of our heroic dad. And up above, the distant booms. Stand clear of the demon doors. Central Line train to Leytonstone. Eastward home, me beauties. Me dad said, you'll never make a train driver as long as you got a hole in your kaiba. And he put me down as a carpenter's apprentice. Trying to make me in his own image, you see. I lasted a week. Just wasn't in me. Even now, a block of wood and a bag of nails brings me out in a cold sweat. War killed him, you see, inside. I always wondered what he'd been like before that. He must have had something. He tried to stop me joining. I paid him no heed. I was going to get back into those tunnels any which way I could. The time I was 18, I'd got myself a place in the London Transport Training School. Desperate to learn the secrets about the world underground I was. And always the thought, make it through and you'd be a guard. And then, one day, could it be possible? A driver. Training school, boot camp more like. Run like an army barracks it was. Ex-army officers trying to run us civvies like they'd run their soldiers. First day, sent to Chiswick Bus Works. It was all one company then, you see, buses and trains. This big red bus full of us, bright-eyed and terrified, queuing up for our uniforms like we'd got the call. Terrible uniforms. Not as bad as these, mine, but don't get me going on that. Dark blue serge, Griffin logos every flipping where. But I didn't care. I was like a kid in a sweet shop, getting £4 a week more than I'd ever got before, do something I'd have paid them for. They try to knock it into you and knock it out the other side at that school. Worth it for the evenings though. Drinks and chats and West London girls, dancers, back row to pictures, and if you're feeling really sure, black cab home. I didn't exactly sow me wild oats, but well, I reckon there was enough activity for a good bowl of porridge. Oh hello, look at this one. Doesn't know whether he's coming or going. All you got to do is put both feet on the train and the rest of your body will follow. Good lad. There, that wasn't so difficult, was it? The punters have got dafter. But definitely. No question in my mind. And they expect so much more now as well. If I had my way, I'd have a proper passenger charter where they'd have to promise a certain level of respect and behaviour. It's a two-way street, you see. In the end, I strolled out of that school like I was cock of the walk. London knew we were out that night, I can tell you. I can still see Billy Haynes in the middle of Cambridge Circus, his hands in the air, waving his papers, bringing the traffic to a standstill and shouting, "I'm going to be a bleeding driver!" Got home around 2, lounge light still on. Your dad sat under the standard lamp, staring into space. I tiptoed beerily in, crept up to him, shoved the paper under his nose and says, "Looks like my jack seal needs stitching up, eh, old fella?" He looked at me with empty eyes and said, "Your mother's been killed by a taxi." White City, eh? BBC. Pete Murray on air was a man, voice like honey. "Please mind the gap between the platform and the train, ladies and gentlemen. It's not a design fault, we just want to keep you all on your toes." Here we go then, into the darkness. It was windy when we buried her. She'd been rushing around for something or other, crossed on the corner and didn't see it come. Taxis were the doing and the undoing for my old mum. He shrunk, like it had the life sucked out of him. I never knew she meant so much to him. But as he stood sobbing by the graveside, I realised he'd never considered her not being there. She knew I'd got me papers, knew I'd passed. She was looking on. Still is. All right, Mum? So, I lost me mum, but I gained something else. I can't tell you what it was like in them days. You walked in and suddenly you were part of something. A family, a laughing, bickering, sprawling, extended family. Not anymore. Everybody knew everybody else back then, but that's all gone. Now it's just a business. Notting Hill. Don't get me started on Notting Hill, right? Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Captain Becton, your pilot for this afternoon. Just waiting for the signal from air traffic control, and we will be heading due east at an altitude of approximately 2 foot. After me mum went, me dad started having a pop. "You're going to piddle around forever," he'd say. Oh, I courted, but none of them seemed to hit the mark. It was always in the background there was Alice. She lived next door and we both knew. Never said anything. Eyes met and then avoided, usual thing. But it was sort of predestined. So in the end, I got up courage and asked her to a dance. Nobody dances anymore, do they? Just throw themselves about. We went out together and we ticked along okay. It wasn't a blinding passion, but then we didn't expect it to be. I proposed down by the canal. We'd done the last of the sherbet lemons and there was a lull in the conversation. It seemed the right thing to say at the time. The station manager gave me Sunday so I'd get the money together. Double time. I'll never forget him for that, old Arnold. At the ceremony, the vicar asked her if she was going to love, honour and obey. Nobody said anything about obeying, she said, and glared at me as if I'd added it in deliberately. Eventually, her mouth said I do, but her eyes weren't talking in tandem. Ceremony was packed. We had 2 drivers and 3 guards as ushers, and they still couldn't get the church doors to close on time. Southend, bank holiday honeymoon. After the event, she lay there and said, "I was banking on you having had more practice than that." Well, I can't complain, not really. I knew what I was letting myself in for. Just what you did in them days. Eventually, I must admit, the sex thing became a bit of a problem. I mean, I'm only human, but ashamed to say, I've my urges. But as time ticked on, Alice pulled down the shutter further and further. "You had your chance," she'd say. There was never any question of kids, but I needed consistent access for that. And anyway, I'd seen her face in the supermarket. If looks could have killed, East London would have been a hotbed of unexplained toddler mortality. Jeremy arrived in '69, the day after Neil Armstrong had turned things upside down. I mean, we all knew people like that, but you didn't want to have to work with them. He was the first on the line, first on the system. They hadn't known what to do with him at the school. You couldn't put him down like water off a duck's back. First duty on, he came in with a pink feather boa and said he was going to bring a bit of style to the central line if it killed him. It was nearly an all-out strike. It came that close, I'm not kidding you. We had a meeting. We all refused to work with him. What if we get stuck down a tunnel, I said. Jeremy just smiled and said, my charisma will light up the gloom. Eventually Arnold hauled me in. He said, listen, lad, I don't like it any more than you do, but somebody's got to do it. Oh, cheers, Arnold, I said. First day as a pair, we got wolf whistled getting onto the train. He just waved back at him. I was ready to kill. Told Alice. Watching Parky we were. They've only gonna lump me with a ginger guard, I said. She just looked at me and said, that explains a lot.
Capture the light. Capture the glow. Capture a whole new way to brighten your skin. Introducing Skin Lights. 5 new light effects that illuminate your skin instead of covering it up. Introducing Revlon Skin Lights.
When you've had a hard day, but you've got to go on in the evening, Shaw have made Deo Wipes to clean, deodorize and freshen you up fast.
You'll never guess what happened to me today.
New Deo Wipes from Shaw. What are you doing tonight?
That's it! Just go, will you? Get out of my house!
Oh, man.
Gotcha!
Conventional washing machines have only one drum. Your clothes go round and round. The new Dyson machine has 2 drums that turn in opposite directions at the same time, so your clothes move in a totally different way. This 2-drum wash action is more efficient and twice as fast at releasing dirt from your cottons. And of course, with 2 drums, the Dyson will even wash a king-size duvet. The new Dyson washing machine. 2-drum, not humdrum.
Arrow, please, mate. What's that?
I don't know. Just comes with it.
Nah. I think I'll just stick with me bubbly chocolate.
Aero. All bubble, no squeak.
New Harpic Power Foam. It clings, then expands under the rim, so you can clean the whole toilet effortlessly. New Harpic Power Foam. Expert cleaning power.
You're gonna get me in trouble with the missus.
Over here, yes.
Oh, not the herbs!
Take me back.
Oregano, some rosemary. Oh, savoury. Fantastic with chicken. Yeah.
Sainsbury's new fresh herb range now has the widest selection of unusual herbs to satisfy even the most adventurous cooks.
Here we go, boys. Stuffed. Yeah, what's that? And what is that? That is a piece of art.
Sainsbury's, making life taste better.
I couldn't believe my eyes.
Greetings, Earthlings.
What do you want, strange beings?
We are Persil capsules. We like to wash.
Now that is weird. You're not from this planet, are you?
Squashy liquid capsules get your whole wash clean and disappear without a trace.
Come back! There's more!
New Persil capsules. Take us to your laundry.
If life ran like clockwork, buses wouldn't travel in packs. There'd always be time for lunch. Taxi drivers would go your way rather than their own sweet way. And buying, selling or renting a property in London would be no trouble at all. The Property Show, Thursday, 7:30 ITV, taking the wind-up out of capital living.
You never forget your first one under. Coming into Oban evening rush hour. He stood out like neon. I caught his eyes, clear and keen. I knew what was coming. It happened in slow motion and nothing I could do. 4 weeks as a driver. I'd be lying if I said it didn't shake me. But Trevor Alcott, our divisional inspector, said, "You popped your cherry, son, there's no more to it. Happens to the best of us, off you go." Later I had one under at Tottenham Court Road. Injured but still kicking. I got out and laid on top of him, stopped him moving while they eased the train over us. They gave me the Royal Humane Society Award for that. Imagine that. I've got it in the toilet now, for those little reflective moments. Me dad had always said Edward Heath would get in over his dead body, and he was right. He went while they were counting the votes. He hadn't said much since Mum died. I thought I'd get to know him better, but no. After he'd gone, little Arthur, well, not so little then, up and went to Canada. A whole new life. I admired him for that. Hello, like sardines in here. Not long to the next station, folks. Hold on tight and mind your heads under the closing doors. I didn't talk to him for 3 months, Jeremy. Kept me own thermos, never shared me sandwiches, I hated it. Well, I mean, what's the point of having a guard you can't share a joke with? He pretended nothing was happening. Kept yabbering at me like we was best mates. Drove me mad. The 60s hit Leytonstone in 1971, or at least my corner of it. Alice joined the library, took out a Germaine Greer, and bras disappeared from her life. She decided she wanted to be a driver too. "Can't take much brains," she said. "Oh, cheers," I said. She asked me if I put in a word for her. I said I'd think about it. That night the shutters were pulled up a notch. Demon negotiator, that woman. She made it and all. Got through the school, got her papers. Never would have believed it. It's funny when you think you'll end up loving somebody forever. I never did her a word of harm. But she'd made her mind up about me and wouldn't be swayed. It was just here. As I came out of the tunnel, I saw her. Platform 3 at Stratford changed my route through life. Out of the darkness and into the light. There was she, bold as brass, playing tonsil hockey with Alan Boswell. Oh, it still sends a shiver down my spine to think about it. Alison Boswell, Northern Line driver. Horrible line it is. He was well suited to it. Face like a weasel with a moustache no pencil would ever take responsibility for. They never saw me, unclocked. Swapped shifts, you see. Never normally been at Stratford at 2:19. She thought she had a timetable for her fling. The timetables are unreliable, see? Should have known that, working down here. Oh, hello. I thought things were going too smoothly. That's one thing I won't miss. Been at the mercy of red lights half the day. I felt cold all over. Trapped in my own little tunnel. On my way home, I bought new locks for the front and back doors. My mind was clear. I'd pack her stuff in a tea chest and leave it by the gate. Just seemed the right thing to do. But when I got home, there was a note sellotaped to the banister. She'd beaten me to it. Gone to Morden to have my needs satisfied, it said. I never heard from her after that. We didn't have anything to say to each other. Not since the canal, really. Every so often I catch wind that she's moved on to another new line. Last I heard, she was killing time on a Circle line. Circle? Fancy wanting to spend your days going round and round and round. Still, she'd done most of the others. She'd been through more depots than a Flying Scotsman, that woman. Sorry about the delay, ladies and gents. I'd like to say we'd be underway in a minute, only I don't want to get your hopes up. I wouldn't call it a bender. And no, that's not true, I would call it a bender. A massive, great, stonking bender. The bender to end all benders. To tell you the truth, I don't remember the summer of 1974. All I do know is by the time I sobered up, there was a new Doctor Who. That really set me back, not recognising the bloke flying the TARDIS. It was Jeremy sobered me up. He found me on a Friday, having done the week's wages the night before. Asleep in the doorway of a pub opposite the depot. "You're coming home with me," he said, and I was in no fit state to argue. I only learned afterwards what he did. Got me booked off for a month on full pay, no disciplinaries, no questions asked. Let me stay at his gaff. My mind was too full of Alice and the things of us. Did nothing except drink tea, smoke rollies and study the form. And when he came home, we'd talk. Talk like I'd never talked to another human being, let alone another bloke. And during the course of that month, he became my one true friend. He got me back on the rails. And I realised then just how wrong you could be about somebody. Oh, it makes me blush now when I think about it, how badly I treated him. He even sorted me shift out when I got back. First train out, Christmas Day 1974. Well, he knew I'd have only stewed over Christmas. So there we were. Whole line covered in snow. Orange glow lighting up the early morning. I eased the train gently through that silent world and out onto the soft white sheet ahead. And all around me, trees covered in snow like on Christmas cards. And up ahead, all you could see was white, unspoilt white perfection. I let me mind drift, like I was driving through the clouds, up to heaven. And as we accelerated through the snow, I slipped back into my real life. Oh, hello. Looks like he's finished with his tea and buns. You used to get tipped at Christmas then and all. Imagine that now. Nobody tips a tube driver. They might smack you one, but they never tip you. Young girls used to smile at you. Old gents used to tip their at you. You felt part of their lives, part of the city's life. All I can remember from then on is laughing with him. Sometimes when we were setting off on a journey, he'd put a white stick in my hand, grab me by the arm and march me down the platform screaming, "Out of the way for the driver! Anybody seen his Labrador?" There was one time he made me jam a schoolboy's hat over my head, crouch down behind the controls as we were coming into the station. So all the punters could see was this kid in the cab. Oh, you should have seen the letters that came in. "How are you letting kids drive these trains?" He sorted out my love life as well. No, not like that. But he talked me up. He got me confidence going. "You scrub up all right," he'd say. "There's many a girl on the lookout for a catch like you." He said he'd stake his signed Julie Andrews on it. He was right and all. It's amazing what a smile can do. And of course, I like the buses, aren't they, eh? The ladies. At one stage, I had trouble juggling them. There was beautiful Elsie from the Jubilee, Debs from the District. I just seemed to attract them, I don't know why. I mean, I'm no Jack the Lad, and here I was at 55 with a string of admirers. That's when they started up the nickname, Stormin Norman. Made up for all those years I spent with Alice, I can tell you. I began to understand what all the fuss was about. Then I met Tanita. She pulled my lever, literally. Some geezer had a heart attack. She stopped the train, had me send for help. By the time it arrived, she'd done the business. Trained nurse, you see. Saved his life and changed mine. She was different from all the others, from Alice. I knew I wanted to spend the rest of my life with her. Soppy, innit? But that's the way it goes. Never told her, of course. Didn't want to scare her off. Lovely little creature like her. Just kept stum and treated her right. Look at us now. Her at 40, me just approaching 21, getting ready for our first ever little one. You never know what's round the next bend. I really love her. I'm not ashamed to say that. She takes no rubbish, Tanita, unless you count her fondness for Richard Clayderman. It's funny, but my life has been a truly mystifying journey. Smoothness and bumps, diversions, delays, stops, changes, lifts up, stairs down, intersecting lines, harrowing departures and triumphant arrivals. And just when you think you've reached the end, you find they've extended the track. 10 days he's due. Little boy. Can you believe it, eh? Little boy. Well, we're all more than the sum of our shift patterns. After today, I'm going to see the world. Go see Arthur in Toronto. Learn to whitewater raft. Find out about email. Read Charles Dickens sing in the bath. Watch your child, my child, grow up. Give him love. It's the friends I'll miss. They're what got me through. Jeremy's gone to Brighton now. Took voluntary severance and opened a pub. They've got the best drag nights this side of Mile End. I'll be visiting him with the nipper, God willing. I'm not a go-getter, see? I'm happy to say that. I never wanted to be famous, have me name in the paper. All I ever wanted to do was drive a tube train. That was a lofty ambition in my day. And it wouldn't have mattered even if it wasn't. I'd still have done what I'd done. Try everything, regret nothing. That's that then. Right. Reckon I'll ride the BR to Canvey Island, complain about the service. All change, please. All change.
Thank you for travelling on the Central Line.
And the final monologue in this series can be seen at the same time next week with Emma Chambers in Pine Mash Cheryl.
They're the people we love to love.
They're the people we love to hate.
They're the stars that we love to have in our homes every day of the year.
Once again, it's time to honour Britain's best-loved actors, recall their most dramatic moments, and celebrate the sheer brilliance of our most treasured television shows.
Join us in a spectacular night of triumph, tension and tears. The British Soap Awards 2001, Wednesday at 8, only on ITV.